NEI, right? It may be more robust to process in a much mature organization, but at the same time, it may or may not be much mature in another organization because the organization work in a concept of subcontractors, etc., etc. So moving to risk register in practice. I'll take a pause. Any questions? Okay. So I intentionally put this slide. It just reminds us how the AI risk register used to look like. And when we had a MLTV based risk register, you define the asset value, then you do the threat value, then you do the asset vulnerability, likelihood, probability, occurrence, etc., etc. Now, coming to the components of AI risk register, this is no hard and fast rule. It's just that I thought that it is reasonable to have these components in your AI risk register. It can definitely vary from organization to organization. Risk ID basically a unique ID. Any risk should have a unique ID, right? For identification tracking purposes. Use case mapping, it needs to be mapped to what kind of use case it is. Description category, detailed risk articulation, MIT taxonomy classification. I've given that example because it's very extensive and it's a very useful document. Depends on how it can vary. You can use your own repository, some other source of information, but this is a good repository to refer to. Inherent risk assessment, unmitigated risk. So this basically is definitely a critical component in risk management that you need to understand the inherent risk to actually perform the right classification, etc., etc. So unmitigated risk assessment, considering the likelihood and impact before the control is implemented. Treatment and control, again, the foundational concept of risk management. Residual risk, risk owner and accountability, and evidence linkages. Now, let's talk about one or two examples or scenarios of how we would actually. There's something which we started with was AI risk managed. AI risk is not something very new. At the end of the day, it needs to embed with the existing risk management of the organization. So let's take a few examples. Modifying DLP to manage AI data flows. So I have personally got implemented scenarios where the organization was like, okay, let's implement Copilot. And the question was, what if someone prompt leverage prompt to send out data? Do we have the capability to manage? In a lot of the organizations, the DLP policies in itself are not configured properly. If it is implemented, they are not operational very effectively. These are common issues within cybersecurity teams in a lot of organizations. Um, and I have personally faced these scenarios because I did manage data protection for a while at multiple places. Now, so let's take Microsoft's example. So I'm not so the Purview ecosystem basically work on your classifiers and the policies which you have implemented and leveraging those policy, your DLP works to some extent. CASB also integrate with the policies. And then there is DSPM. For AI, etc. Right? So similar technologies are being provided by different vendors, but have the organization actually implemented those technologies to cater to scenarios where AI producing output is in line with organization policy or the prompt which is being sent? Are we actually being able to monitor the data which goes in, etc., etc. Now, why? How does this integrate? Because there are some additional scenarios which needs to be looked at in a data protection practice. So these new scenarios need to embed or work in conjunction with the existing data protection practice. There are some questions which we can definitely ask. How are sensitive data types classified, tagged to AI workflows or AI output, etc., etc. These are certain questions. The risk would be sensitive data exfiltration, gaps in coverage of non-traditional challenges, regulatory non-compliance. Potential control can be extended DLP policies to cover AI endpoint and SaaS integrations, right? Implement context-aware data classification, etc., etc. Another classic example. So this one was data going out. If somebody is trying to send the data out. Another classic example is where the threat actors, the adversaries, are leveraging AI to enhance their attack TDPs or the tactics, etc. Like one of the classic examples is enhanced um, AI generated phishing attacks. Is the organization ready to detect such emails which deepfakes? Like deepfakes have become so sophisticated that at times it's very hard to differentiate. Uh, is the organization, the tools or technologies which you have implemented at your gateway, or the tools and technology which you have implemented to detect phishing, are they capable enough to identify the attacks which are being done are enhanced by leveraging AI? So phishing attack is just one simple example. There are many more use cases around it. So the questions can be, can current filters detect AI generated context? Are adaptive ML models used for detection? Risk can be increased success rate of AI generated spear phishing attack. Credential theft, insider threats via compromised account. Potential controls can be integrate advanced NLP, fake detection, etc., etc. I think there are a few vendors who have enhanced their technology, leveraging some of the kind of controls. The third one would be securing AI chat app with development lifecycle. So I think we spoke about the development lifecycle and various controls to be implemented during the project or the application development lifecycle to cater to new risk posed by using AI and integrating AI within your application. Uh, Risk quantification, of course, once you have identified risk, you have to quantify it to prioritize, and you prioritize your mitigation, your planning, your funding, your budgeting, etc., etc. So, core formula: impact into likelihood, treatment pathways, inherent risk, treatment controls, and residual risk. Key risk indicator and matrices. These are some illustrative examples. There can be much more bias monitoring, model drift, security resilience. This is an illustrative example of how I think would a reasonable risk register look like. Risk ID, use cases, risk statements, risk domain, risk category, inherent risk, control mitigation, control effectiveness. So the formulas can vary depending upon how organization's methodology, what standards you're trying to leverage, etc., etc. Residual risk, risk owner, approving authority, evidence required, and review frequency. MITV-based research. The reason I have quoted MIT domain is just for reference purposes. So thank you so much for hearing me out. Um, I, as as I introduce myself, spent 18 years in the industry, have an experience of building multiple risk management functions, etc. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I have a website. It's not that great, but it's good enough. Harshitchandel.com. So Any questions?
Thanks, Harshit. And participants, please put your questions out here on the chat or just speak them up here, and Harshit will be able to help answer those. In the meantime, we're going to put out our a small questionnaire on this chat link here, which you folks requesting all of you guys to fill it up before you drop off. So yeah, participants, if you have any questions, I think this is the right time to put out your questions. I see Raman has posted the questions for all of the participants. Take out time to fill it up. I don't think it would take us more than 5 to 10 minutes. So Arshad, like I said, I mean, this was
Yes.
the first time we did it on a Saturday evening. I
No,
think
thank you. Thank
uh, so. I'm guessing people are still not ready to speak up on questions. But yeah, I mean, if there are any follow-up questions, folks, just put it out on the WhatsApp group or reach out directly to me. And Harshit did put out his contact information on the
So,
screen.
so,
Uh,
so I think Kuldeep have a question. Who should own the risk AI risk register? That's a great
Great
question,
question.
Kuldeep. So that's honestly a great question, and the reason why I'm saying is it would vary from organization to organization. If you talk conceptually, conceptually, the risk management relies with the GRC function within cybersecurity vertical within any organization. But I have seen, and to my surprise, at least I have spoken with 5 different people in last 2 weeks who says we do not have a GRC function per se, right? So, uh, one, it belongs to the cybersecurity team, but at the same time, cybersecurity is primarily a custodian for enterprise risk management, right? The GRC function, the 1V function, because they manage technology, cyber, and parts of vendor risk for the enterprise risk management. So I think that at the end of the day, the all the risk for any organization are owned by the CIO, the CRO, sorry. But it would vary from organization to organization and context to context. If by principle, if there is one function, one word we have to say, we would say GRC should be owning the AI risk register. But it may be. I hope I answered your question.